Hello everybody. I have recently written and released an ebook called 50 Mistakes That I Would Not Make as a Gardener or Farmer Again, and I attached that to my email list. It's completely free, so if you want a copy, just go sign up for the email list and you can get the whole thing. There is nothing being sold in the book, so don't worry about somebody trying to coach you, sell you some expensive garden bed. None of that. That's not going to happen. It's simply an email list to keep our community a little more together because of the way that social media has been evolving. Now that you know what it is, I would like to start a series where I take all of these items and I turn each and every one of them into videos. And hopefully I'll have all these videos out over the next 12 months. Cheap incubators. Don't do it. I should have never done it. There is a big difference between getting a super cheap incubator, getting a middle of the road knockoff brand incubator, and getting a top of the line incubator. Now I think it's the Nurture Right 360. It's a very, very popular incubator, and a lot of people use that incubator. However, that's also one of the more expensive incubators. There are a few very expensive, very popular brands. You do not have to pay that much for quality. You really don't. Let me talk a little bit more about the cheap incubator. So my very first incubator, this was back in 2017, 2018, I had a very cheap incubator that was bought for me for Christmas. And of course, if you are new to hatching, you may just think, incubator, it'll do its job, right? How hard could it be? Apparently it can be pretty hard for the cheap ones. So I had this cheap incubator. It was a 48 egg incubator, I think, and it was like 30-40 bucks, something like that. And I know you're thinking, wow, that's way too cheap. That should have set off alarm bells. Well, let me tell you, back then incubators were not that expensive. You could get a good incubator for about 50-60 bucks. So it was kind of run-of-the-mill as far as pricing goes for a cheaper incubator. However, terrible. It was awful. So what I learned about cheap incubators, if you do not do your research, you must check reviews. Check reviews, look online, make sure that they are not paid reviews. You'll see a lot of those. This incubator, it had issues just all across the board. The one that I had, the same manufacturer had a reputation for the cords actually catching fire. So I didn't know that until after I'd already gotten rid of it. And no, it never caught fire or anything like that. The issues that it had was the temperature. It wasn't calibrated right. I had to recalibrate that. And not only did I recalibrate it, the incubator itself was not reading temperature correctly. So I actually had to not only calibrate it up towards the correct temperature, I had to go over it to make sure the eggs were staying warm. Due to that, I had a lot of eggs that would go to 25, 26 days, and chicken eggs are not supposed to go that long. So that was a problem. On top of that, the humidity. It either held too much, too little. It was a nightmare. I started dry hatching in that model, and I had a lot more luck. I would not add any water through most of the hatching cycle. And then once we reached lockdown and I saw pipping, I would add a little bit of water to it, just a little bit, and I would monitor that because the humidity in that thing was terrible. You had to stay on top of it. So because of that humidity issue, I would have a lot of shrink wrapping issues, and those are never fun. During the middle of incubation, we would have a lot of quitters. A lot of quitters. Since having a better incubator, I know that number of quitters was just absurd. There never should have been that many that quit. So we would put 12 eggs in there, we would maybe have, 10 or 11 start to develop, and we would maybe lose up to half of those during the course of incubation, and I knew it was related to the incubator. So now that I've told you just how bad that experience was, just absolutely terrible, again, you do not have to buy the best incubator on the market. You do not have to. As a matter of fact, you could buy 2 or 3 decent incubators for that price. So the one that I have is, I believe it's called a Sail Novo or Sail Nova. It's something like that. And it was, I believe it was $77, $78. So it's not super cheap, but it's not $200 either. I believe that I got mine off of eBay, and I just absolutely love the thing. I love it. It's so easy to use. It has such a high hatch rate. I had 0 issues out of it. The biggest issue I've had out of this incubator was I had 1 hatch. It was 16 eggs and 7 hatch. The problem was actually the person that I got the eggs from. Their eggs were just not good quality. They were not fertile. They probably had too many hens to the rooster, or the rooster wasn't covering well. Whatever the case may be, they did not check fertility, and so it was a bad experience there. But any other egg I've hatched, all of my eggs, any other eggs that I've picked up and hatched out of it, great. I actually plan to buy another, maybe 1, 2 of those incubators. I haven't really decided yet, but I would like to buy more of them to increase the number of birds that I'm hatching later this winter, early in the spring. So y'all, do not buy a cheap incubator, and don't buy a top-of-the-line incubator if you cannot afford it. By all means, if you want the name, go for it. But a lot of us dropping, $200 on an incubator just isn't really feasible, especially the way things are going right now. So the biggest takeaway is just do your research. Even if you've never heard of a name brand, just do your research, because the reviews will tell you all you need to know, as long as you're finding honest reviews. I absolutely love Amazon for looking for reviews, even if I'm not going to purchase the product there, because a lot of times you can find a product on Amazon and it's a little bit cheaper on eBay. That's one of my favorite ways to save a little money. So if there is something that you're looking for, like an incubator, always check the Amazon reviews and head over to eBay, see if you can get it a little bit cheaper. So I decided, hey, why don't I just look for a cheaper incubator, find one with solid reviews, purchase it, try it out, see if it works. If not, I could return it. But this incubator has done so wonderfully, and it really does look just like that nurture rate. So the body style is very, very, very similar. That's my recommendation. But even if this model had that same issue with like the power cord, if it was made by the same factory, well, in the end, if I had one of the two and it went out of both of them, I'd be better off with the cheaper model, because I could probably turn around and replace this one and have bought 2 of them for the cost of one of the nurture rates. So it just kind of makes more sense to go with the cheaper one. In addition, by the time I buy a second cheaper one, in addition to the one, and it's still working, if I just have 2 of those working, I can quickly reimburse myself on the cost of the incubator. Just about 1 round of hatching will pay for the incubator. So take this as a word of warning. Do not go for the cheap incubator. If you are new to chickens and you want to incubate your own eggs, do not go for the cheapest that you find. Bad idea. Just don't do it. I'm telling you, you're going to waste your money. There's going to be heartache involved, and you're going to wind up purchasing a better incubator anyways. So don't put yourself through all that. Just go on and get the better incubator. Go on and make yourself happy. Maybe chicks are amazing. Just spend a few extra dollars. You won't regret it. Bye, everybody.